All right, everybody, welcome back to Movie Talks and Chills, Sunscreen Film Festival.
What day?
It's day 3. Hey, I know you were expecting that. Continuation of day 3. Let's just go ahead and kick it off. You know who we are. How about our special guest? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dana Corrigan. I'm an animation professor at the University of Tampa, and I'm co-founder of Pencil Gator Animation Studio.
And I'm the other founder, Joseph Solinsky, just moved here.
Oh, nice. So
Well, welcome to town.
Thank you.
It's really hot outside.
I know.
This is
I
nothing.
warned him.
I spent a lot of time in Minneapolis.
Oh, this is complete polar opposite.
Yeah.
You wait until like late July, early August.
Yeah, this is actually mild.
You will constantly be taking a shower.
Yeah.
See, I'm born and raised, so I'm used to it. But,
Hey, he's walking.
Humidity's like a big guy with a wet shirt that just hugs you all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
and he never lets go.
so why don't you tell us what brings you guys to Sunscreen Film Festival today?
So we have 2 films that are going to be showing tomorrow at 10 a.m. Our project, Corrigan, and then our client, Vincent Castro's project, Choose All Walks of Life. So they're for that, and I'm also doing a workshop tomorrow at 1:15.
Nice.
And this is one of the earlier film festivals that I've been to, and by far one of the most educational, valuable in terms of relationship and learning from each other, good industry connections. I am overwhelmed, and I am so glad to be here.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, we asked. You already answered the question we were going to ask later. We always ask everybody like how they feel about the festival, and like the workshops and the connections. So I think it's amazing. You already answered that question because we get that a lot from so many people saying that, just the workshops alone. We just talked to Dave DeBoard,
yesterday,
the education director, kind of puts the panels together. I'm sure you know who he is. And so he said that is one of the things that they've been put on the list of top tier for as far as film festivals go, just the workshops alone. I mean, the film, everything else is great, but they said the workshops are so in-depth, so educational, so informative. And even outside the workshops, just the networking capability and the people just willing to talk to you. It's not like being in Los Angeles and Hollywood trying to get somebody to, hey, can we collaborate? No, leave me alone. I got a meeting. Or, hey, just leave me your card. I'll call you. You don't have my number? Yeah, I know. I'll call you. But, they get so many people that are interactive. Everybody wants to be a part of everybody else's project and collaboration. So I think that's great that you guys have already had that experience.
Yeah, something I'd like to add that. So Sunscreen 2024 was my first film festival that I'd ever attended, and I was so impressed for that exact reason. I didn't know film festivals had workshops. I didn't know about the networking events, not to the extent that it is. And I was so very impressed by it, and I enjoyed it so much that I'm like, okay, next year, because we were finishing up Corrigan, I'm like, next year, I want it in here. I really, really want to get into Sunscreen. It was on the top of the list, and so we were so excited when we got in, got accepted.
It is such a great film festival. Like I said, we got to know some of the people here, and we started our show 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's now connected to, we're 4 years in Sunscreen. So the first year we reached out to a couple of people that ran the thing and they said, yeah, come on down. And now they just let us come back. And for us, that's a big part of us, getting to hear everybody's stories and getting to meet so many different people with so many different perspectives and aspects of background and their film styles and everything. So
Actually, we just walk through the door and they just don't stop us.
they're like,
Kick
as long
the
as you're
door
upstairs,
down.
you're not bothering anybody. Like, we're the dogs in the corner.
Shove them out of the way.
Well, the first film festival I went to was a very long time ago. It was Spike and Mike's Festival of Animation in La Jolla, California, in the late 80s.
Okay.
And since then, I had that as the expectation, and that was a very special event. We're focused on animation, of course, and additionally, Dana's somewhat responsible for another film festival in Tampa focused on animation.
Yeah, we did a Tampa Animation Festival. It's hosted at the University of Tampa.
Okay.
We had a test run in February to see how to go, and then we're going to be launching it for real in November. An earlier draft of it started in 2018, and they were going to make it biannual, but 2 years later was 2020. And so it
Nobody remembers what
yeah, nothing significant happened at that time.
Except Smirnoff stock price skyrocketed.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. There's just no toilet paper to be found anywhere. It was fine. And I've been teaching at the college level since 2011, but I actually started tenure track in fall tenure track at the University of Tampa, and so they're like, hey, so now that you're tenure track, we want to restart this film festival again for just animation and have it be every year. You up for it? I'm like, let's do it.
Oh, fantastic.
So what was your draw like getting into, making films, and then like was there a transition from into animation, or did you always start there, and that's just where you fell in love with it?
That's a great question. So I always loved cartoons ever since I was very little, and when I was little, I wanted to be like a book author. Like a children's book author, just because it was like drawings that tell a story.
Sure.
And then as I got a little older, which was still like 6 years old, still very young, I realized or came to the understanding like, wait, these cartoon shows are made. People make these. So immediately, okay, animation. And always had my heart set on it my whole life.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank you.
I got into animation in the 80s. I know. I had a work permit, and I was colorizing black and white movies, and then one weekend they said go into the other room, and I worked on a cartoon. What was crazy was because as I was a kid, the cartoon later showed up on TV, and I didn't know what I was drawing, or ink and paint really, and I watched and I said, I worked on the Alf cartoon?
That's awesome.
You guys are really into cartoons. You may be one of the only 3 other people that have seen the show called Harvey Birdman and Turning It Long.
I have seen it.
It's based on all the old Hanna-Barbera IPs.
Yep, during Adult Swim.
Yep. And,
Around when it first launched, I think.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert was on it when in his early in his career, and it's hilarious. Every time I mention it, it's like, you mean the Michael Keaton movie, right? No.
No.
I mean, when Cartoon Network got the IP for all of Hanna-Barbera, like, we're going to make something stupid, and it is hilarious.
I was the perfect age when that came out because I thought that was the funniest thing I had ever
too.
seen.
It's just Stephen Colbert going, ha ha, bathroom break, and then he just walks off.
Yeah, that Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
I love
Really
Space
stuff,
Ghost
yep.
Coast to Coast. Yes.
So-
Brack was my favorite.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of intellectual property, I don't think we can talk about animation without talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
One of the
Yeah.
most important sessions at this event has been the legal session. And if you know the history of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the legal elements are almost as important as the animation innovation that happened, because you had Daffy Duck and Donald Duck in dueling pianos. Nowhere else could that happen
Yeah.
legally.
Yeah.
And they had to have equal airtime.
And you had Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse
Right.
Yep.
in the same scene, falling through the sky. Yeah.
Yep.
I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday after we left, and she was like, what movie really messed you up as a kid? I was like, well, that's Poltergeist for me. And she's like, for me, it was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I was like,
Was it from the cartoon going into the acid?
no,
or the
it was
vault?
from Christopher Lloyd being steamrolled, and
that
then he
would get
gets
the
back
laugh,
up,
yeah.
and then his eyes start popping. She's like, that can happen? I don't want that to ever happen.
That would do it too.
Yeah.
I don't think that can actually happen.
She
So,
thought-
but,
she's-
yeah, when you're a kid,
Yep.
anything's
She's the
possible.
same
You know,
age as
that's,
us.
that's actually the wonderful thing about animation is it makes all the things that the stories that you can't tell with human beings or live action. You can tell whatever story you want with animation. You can break the laws of gravity, of physics. You can do whatever you want, and it kind of opens up and it brings the kid back out in you.
Yep.
And it makes you say, God, I really want to fly through the sun. We can't do that, but in a cartoon you could do that, and then they come
On a
out
magic
little bit
school
for you.
bus?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, they did a live-action version of that called Inner Space. I thought it was a good movie.
But he didn't go through the sun.
And he went through the body, and I think they
You
did
know?
that in a couple episodes.
But you also say you're on a panel tomorrow? Is that
Yes.
right? Which one is it?
So it's an animation workshop. It's
Okay.
going to be how to animate in action in 2D.
Okay.
And that's going to be at 1:15 tomorrow.
Nice. And how have you? I know we already talked about. They're very educational, but on the other end, doing the workshop, how does that feel doing it?
It helps that I've been teaching for a while, so that's been good preparation. I did used to get very nervous doing presentations like that when I was an undergrad, but in grad school we had to do it so much that you either just get over it or combust, I guess. I don't know.
You almost
So-
come numb to it. Really, it's like you don't even realize. You just go up and you do your thing.
Yeah, I still get nervous, and I'll get nervous like getting started, but then once I get into it, I think it helps also that I I love the topic so much that once I can get into it, he's seen it. I can just go off on tangent forever.
It's called teacher mode, and anytime we're in
Yep.
sales conversations with customers, I'm like, you got to turn teacher mode off.
You're on the perfect podcast then.
Yes. Yes, we're not teaching anybody anything.
No.
You listen to a couple of episodes. I thought this was a movie podcast. Why the hell are they talking about ducks?
Don't worry about it. It'll come out. It'll come full circle.
Yeah,
Circle
we bring it
around.
back.
We just brought up Daffy Duck and Donald Duck, right?
Exactly.
Here it is.
I did that.
Yeah, there you go. See, you brought it back for us.
Ducks and rabbits and alligators, right?
And how do you feel like with the reception? So when you're performing these panels here, like people's reception engagement, how has that been? I'm assuming it's been good.
Yeah, and one thing that's been really, really pleasant about these is when I do a presentation, I'll have people come up, get just very excited about animation and like, oh, I've got a chance to learn so much I never knew, or it felt like magic, or it got them excited about it. And I love that because I love animation, and so I love being able to share that with people. And something's funny because when you teach a semester at the universities, you get feedback. Like you
Right.
get students that
It's
do
instant.
evaluations. At the end, I'm like, oh, this is like getting our final exam score, but test back. You never know. And one that always comes up is like, oh, what's the enthusiasm of the instructor? And I've gotten comments like, I think she's just like that. And so I get a lot of positive reactions and excitement from learners who come to the workshop. So that's always been very validating for me.
Oh, fantastic! And with the kind of going back to the animation festival, or film festival for that, you said it's going on in November. It's gonna
Yes, it's going to be, I believe, early November. I forget the
Okay.
dates off the top of my head. But it is on Film Freeway,
Okay.
Tampa Animation Festival. They're accepting entries until, I believe it's July 7th for
Okay.
free, and then it starts to cost.
Okay, and it's going to be held in Tampa, or what's the actual
Yep,
location?
at the University of Tampa's
At
Charlene M. Gordon Theater.
Okay.
Will be accessible to the public.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be in Tampa to submit, right?
Yep, you can submit from anywhere. Yeah.
Globally, right?
Yep.
And it's only on Film Freeway right now, that this the submission portal.
Yes.
Okay.
Will people have to buy tickets for this event, or can you just be driving by, see a sign like, hey, let's stop in?
I believe it's free attendance.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
I believe it will be.
that's awesome.
The theater's only so big, so.
Yeah.
But
Fire marshal may be like, wait there.
yeah,
Free but ticketed.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So as animation fans and people who've worked on animation, this is going to be a very vague question, so it may be very difficult to answer. And I apologize, but I
Might
like
get into
to,
a tangent.
I like to make people really thought
Vague
provoke.
question. What's a cartoon?
Yeah.
Is there a cartoon out there you would love to see made, or a style, or a character, or something that you would like to make that hasn't been done before?
I'm going to stick that one with Dana because I need more time to think about it.
Would you like to phone a friend?
I
So,
think he just phoned Dana.
hey, what's up? So,
And we got a 50-50. We'll make up some answers here.
so there's actually a couple of independent comics that I'll read, and because they're indie comics, they're not terribly well known, and so I don't anticipate them automatically getting picked up the way like DC or Marvel would. But I'd really like to see like the indie approach to comics when it's the creators doing like what they want with it, and so some of those I'd actually like to really see get picked up, whether it would be us or anybody else.
Okay.
Some of them I think just are really cool ideas.
Oh yeah. So the interesting thing was I was watching, because I love all forms of cinema. Like I'll watch anything, and I watched recently a documentary on the guys who created Ren and Stimpy.
Oh yeah, John Kricfalusi.
And see, there you go. Listen, she may need to have you on for backup here for names. Like she just drops it.
Asked an animation professor
I
about
know,
a
that's
cartoon.
awesome. That's awesome. But Ren and Stimpy was one of those.
Yeah.
Some people loved it, some people hated it. But
Yep.
watching, the creator and watching the documentary of the people, how they came about,
Yeah.
and apparently, what was his name again?
John Kricfalusi.
Yep. He is apparently as crazy because they had a couple of things of like old shots of him, like when he was younger, doing a thing and pitching the idea.
Yep.
And he was doing the Ren voice,
Yep.
so the Ren voice, and he would act out the series, and it looked almost like Ren in the cartoon.
Yeah.
He was like that lanky, that animated, and
Yep.
he would just go nuts.
You idiot.
Well,
Yes. So that's funny you should mention that, because when I was in grad school, my MFA thesis was about episodic storytelling and animation and how directly connected the episodes are, which I promise is relevant because I was looking up information about how some shows were made, and that was one of them. And I'd read that he had been so exaggerated and so over the top and jumping around that they almost like called security, like, I don't know about this.
Yes.
And then they ended up getting persuaded by his enthusiasm for it. And really, sometimes it's that energy that can sell it just as much as the project, because it's the creator that they're also bringing on board. It's that energy. And something that's really nice about the development of a project like that is ultimately, even though the creator is a big part of it, it's also the collaboration of the team and the kind of checks and balances, especially on Ren and Stimpy, checks and balances and just the creative energy of the multiple people.
So is it my turn to answer?
Absolutely,
Yes.
yeah.
We can't talk about it too much, but Dana and I are working with a fellow named Mark. He's given us a script. I'd love to work on that. It's a children's piece. We do a lot of children's animations. And the reason why I want to work on this is because Mark's been writing for a very long time. He's got some intellectual property that I will say to you after the podcast and be like, oh, that was him, yeah. And he worked on one of my all-time favorite live-action children's show, which is very popular in the parkour community. So when you've got somebody that's got hundreds of hours of shows, you know, a gentleman in his 60s, and he's producing one more piece, that's almost like the capstone in a college class.
Yeah, that's
so
huge.
to me, it's like, I want to make that dream happen.
Yeah.
It's like working
It's
on
also good for
Miyazaki's
business.
last
Yeah.
film.
That's it.
Yeah, The Boy and the Heron.
Well, apparently he's got one more coming. That man will retire 3 days after he's dead.
Like, he's like Columbo. He's always got one more, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can we just make an All Real Monsters movie just for the hell of it? I miss that show so much.
I do miss Iron Monsters. So what's something that you have worked on that's maybe been your favorite, even if it's not animation, that you've worked on so far?
So I'm gonna well, my favorite project's the one that's out right now, Corrigan. This is my baby. But excluding anything that was like an original project of mine, I was an ink and painter on Has Been Hotel on the pilot episode that aired on YouTube. So before the series got picked up. I would say something that was really exciting about that. It was the first project that became very well known, because I'd done a lot of like e-cards, instructional videos, and pilots, and stuff that's not like like very widely publicly released. And this was the first time I ever had gone to like an anime convention or event and saw people cosplaying as a character that I worked on. And I was like, this is cool.
That's awesome.
Really
Yes.
cool.
That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah.
And if I ever see anybody cosplaying as any of our original, I would burst into confetti.
So
And as an animator, you can make that happen.
I guess. And we just want to record it for animation reference.
Yep.
Yeah.
So obviously not at Dana's level of fame and so forth, but I did do ink and paint work when I was in college, and it involved paintbrushes paint for a project called The Wolf, the Demon, and the Stone by June Falkenstein. You gentlemen don't know that name, but you do know the Tigger movie, and that was hers.
Okay.
Fortunately, I can also take that to segue to the fact that I am 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Thank you very much.
I would have that tattooed on me.
Right?
So for you guys, like for animation, like preference. So you we have traditional American animation, we have progressive American animation, then you have one of his favorite styles
Anime.
as anime. So what are your feelings on that? Have you ever worked on anything that's like anime style, or is it? Like,
So Corrigan is an American anime style, kind of like in the direction of Avatar, The Last Airbender, or Legend of Korra. I'm a big anime fan.
Have you seen The Blue-Eyed Samurai on Netflix?
I haven't yet, but I've been recommended to watch that a lot, and I really do want to watch it. It looks really good.
I'm waiting for season 2.
in fact, if he heard it was out right now, he'd probably just leave the show.
Yeah.
Overturn the table and just jump down the
Yeah.
balcony.
Oh, look at that notification. All right, guys, see you later.
What about you, sir? What do you anime type style? Would that be something you'd be interested? Have you worked on anything? Would it be something you'd be interested in working on?
So you already said it. I absolutely love Miyazaki. My 2 beautiful daughters, huge Miyazaki fans, and it's sometimes it's the raindrops on the stone that just melt you, because it's the effort going into creating reality with a chalky tinted screen, and to be able to work on that and to the capacity that I can contribute would be wonderful. And even if I'm behind the scenes, or I'm blocking things for storyboarding, or doing the ugly stuff like accounting and legal, it doesn't matter, because one of the things that is important to us with our business is to feed the artists, because I view art as a spiritual gift that God has given us, and it is our responsibility to pursue it. So if we don't pursue the ideas and the talents that we've been given for His glory, we're leaving something on the table, and we'll take it away and give it to somebody else.
Well put. Well
See,
put.
I have to ask this question. I ask every Miyazaki fan this question. What's your favorite movie?
Porco Rosso. Next question.
Bam! On the spot.
All right, there you go.
Next.
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, that's a
Yep.
good one.
It was I think I had seen Princess Mononoke first, but I was a bit young. And so, like, the wolf head and stuff scared me. But Spirited Away was my first, like, I was a little bit older. I think I was in college. And I watched it and absolutely loved it. And I've seen several more since then, and they're great. But Spirited Away stays my favorite.
Howl's Moving Castle for me. I
That's a
love
good
that
one, too.
The way that the in-house Moving Castle mixed the animation media a little bit was beautiful, and that technique of saying, well, it's a 2D animation, but mostly, is something that Dana and our technical director Matt have been pioneering at our studio. So
Yeah.
sometimes that's just because it solves a problem better, and other times it's because it's more cost effective. As you might not understand this, not being animators, as I understand, animation is very time consuming.
Oh,
Very, very,
And
very.
and people have come to us and it's, well, how much is it going to cost, right? And we break it down by the second, right? But then they're like, well, why is it so expensive compared to live action? Well, live action has a scale to it. Animation has a fixed amount of labor. So we're always focused on techniques to adjust to that. And if you look at Miyazaki, and you look at anime in general, especially that Lord of the Rings, Ride of the Rohirrim,
Yep.
if you look at that, they use techniques where they spend money here and don't spend money there. So sometimes they'll change the frame rate, and other times they'll be like, no, this is a key scene. We're going to animate every feather on this griffin or whatever, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah, and anime's got with cost cutting, like you can do things like have just a wide shot that's just a slow camera pan with like one character, shaking a bottle. And like that's all they're doing, even though there's dialogue happening, and that's all the animation is. Or you get the beautiful animation. My friends and I will jokingly say, "Oh, the check just cleared. Check just cleared for this scene." The animation gets really beautiful.
So I'm really big into video games. That's like my core passion. And I've heard like interviews from video game animators. They say that the hand is like the hardest thing to do. So that's why whenever you see two video game characters hand each other something, but it's just off screen, like, oh, I saw the arm move, but you never see any hands like touching the object or doing it. Is that true in cartooning or anime?
I would say in regular animation that's not video games, hand contact doesn't necessarily have to be too bad.
Okay.
I think with video games, part of it is the like the programming of like where the impact box is and how to connect it, and having the fingers like slowly grip and have it enter. So, and that can be a problem in 3D too, where sometimes things can just kind of pop. So usually if I have students who are in one of our class assignments is for them to have a character pick up an object, because that is hard, because you're when you go to parent it, it can snap, snap in, and you don't want that to look obvious, especially if they're doing it slowly. For us, something that can be a challenge is foot contacts in like a walk cycle. So if it's a walk cycle, it's not bad because you can just cycle it. It takes a long time to do it the first time, but then once you're recycling it. But if somebody's walking in 3/4 view in the scene and navigating around, that can get to be a lot. And if you have like maybe something that blocks some of it, so like, oh, they walk behind a couch or something, that can help make it a little easier. But usually hand contacts aren't too bad
Okay.
in
That's
regular
interesting.
animation.
Right, in 3D it's a little bit different. Like,
It can be.
yeah.
just think about the complexity of the skeleton and the muscles, and that's going to be where the challenge is going to be.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of different joints and you have a lot of different muscles moving around, then that just makes it a harder thing to draw.
Yeah.
If you happen to have seen the original Hobbit from, I think, in the
Ralph,
70s.
Ralph Bakshi's Hobbit, yeah, the 2D animated Hobbit.
From
If you,
1980 something.
oh, it was the 70s, man.
70s.
You can tell by the music.
It's been a very long time since I've seen that film.
If you watch it, there was a heavy amount of rotoscoping, but in the animation, you look at the hands, there's veins, and the hand is moving. So rotoscoping is where you're drawing over a video reference.
Okay.
Or sometimes there's neo-rotoscoping where you're drawing over a 3D model reference. It's cheaper than an actor to frame. Yeah.
Those actors get expensive after a while, man. They're prima donnas. So
Well, they get
getting
entitled
them
for
to stand
sure.
still
They
is
like
hard enough,
eating,
yeah.
and
Just
I
getting
guess
them
can't
to
blame
show
them.
up is hard enough. Then they got to stand still. You know, another question. So if you have, obviously, you know, you teach this, you know, person who, like, let's say a younger person who's in, you know, to the point of college yet, they say, I really want to, you know, animate. Like, what would be some great advice if they're about, like, ending high school, about to get in there, like, besides just get into school, learn the fundamentals, is there any specific key advice you would give them for really wanting to get into that business?
So I have a few different bits of advice. I'll try to keep
Good.
it. I'll try to keep it
as
brief.
many as you got. I mean, we love it.
Because some of it will sort of depend on where they're at right now and what they ultimately want to do. So one bit of advice I always give is to network. So like meet people. It could be just making friends at conventions. It could be coming to events like this. But getting to meet other creators and try to put your shining star on somebody who's going to put in the same level of effort that you are, so that you can kind of barter with each other. And another thing that can help is seeing what it is that you like to do and what you want to do. So it can partially be what kind of job, like tasks do you want, and also what kind of lifestyle that you want to have. So for those who like to do bits of everything, and you're more of like we call them a generalist, so he's more like a generalist, then they might be better off in a small studio or working independently. A big studio, you're more of a specialist. You do one thing really, really well. And some people love to do that. That's all they want to do is the one thing and forget anything else. And some people are like, I'm so tired of doing this one thing. I want to do anything but this one thing.
I'll add to that a little bit more pragmatic sometimes. If you want to be an animator, you need to do animation like athletes do warm-ups. You need to be drawing every single day, and you need to take care of your wrist.
Constantly using your muscle.
It's not a sports injury, but it's an art injury. You
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
and I've seen it.
Yep.
But yeah, art is a physical discipline, even if you're just moving an arm and a hand.
Yeah, you definitely want to try to take care of preventing like carpal tunnel or ulnar nerve issues. Sometimes getting like a vertical mouse or stretching. And if you're starting to feel like sore, to stop, take breaks, and just as he mentioned, something that like a saying that we'll have is the work you do begets more of that same work. So if you don't have, like if you're doing your own projects and you're doing what you want to do, you're going to be showing off that work that you like doing, and then people are going to see that and say, hey, you know, this style would look really cool for my commercial. And you'll start getting more work that's in the direction of the things that you've already done. So just as he said, keep creating. And create the things that you are passionate about.
Absolutely. No, and that kind of goes, you know, same thing with like, you know, general live action film industry or doing a short film or musician, anything really, anything in the arts whatsoever. Obviously, you just got to keep plugging away at it because, and if you don't feel that you have that little bit of time, I got a little bit of time and I don't feel like doing that, it might not be for you. Now, obviously, we all get burnt out on certain things every once in a while. You got to take a step back, have a life balance, but no, I think that's great advice too. I mean, just kind of keep plugging away. And you guys brought up a great point. Something simple is like, yes, you're not playing football, you're not playing hockey, but injuries can happen, you know. But I mean, just people who are just a secretary or you know, and executive administrator. I don't want to say the wrong word now anymore. I know the titles change. Assistants, you know, they get carpal tunnel just from typing emails all day. So yeah, I definitely get that. I think that's wonderful. It's great advice.
Did you ever get? You're a gamer. Did you ever get Nintendo thumbs?
I got Nintendo Palm.
Palm, okay.
When I was playing the N64 and I needed to rotate that thing. And then it had those like 3 circles and you just
I was going to say, how many N64 controllers did you break?
Oh, goodness.
Now he's a little younger than me, so I played the original Nintendo.
Me too.
So Contra gave you the thumbs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Left, right, up, down, BA start. You know. It was like,
Yep. I was I was diagnosed at the age of 5, but they believe I was born with arthritis, so I had a special brace that I had to wear on my hand while I played. My parents were like, "Oh my god, but he plays video games, it's going to make him worse." Like, no, it may actually help. Like, it's constantly moving that joint,
Yeah.
and it's getting motor on that specific
That's really
joint
cool.
in his hand. So it's like, yeah, just make him wear the brace. If he gets sore, tell him to stop. But I was like, I'm millennial generation, so I kind of got I had the video
By 2
games,
years.
but I can also be outside.
Yeah.
Just come home when the streetlights come on.
Exactly.
So you're like the Forrest Gump of the video game world.
Yes.
Play, Gavin, play.
Let's not give him an ego saying you're like Tom Hanks, all right? One final question. There was a 1 hour long special with Matt Stone and Trey Parker, famous for South Park, and it's about going to air in 1 week, about how they start the process for an episode on Monday and they finish on Sunday. How realistic is that for most studios? Like,
It's not.
Yeah, clearly they have a system and it works very well for them. But for even like a small studio who has a show on YouTube, that can't be.
So that's a great question, because especially for a project like South Park, they talk about and reference things that are happening right now. Now, a regular production tends to take about 1 year per episode, and then you stack. So like the script writer will finish episode 1, they'll go to episode 2. Pre-production finishes episode 1, they go to episode 2. Script writer's on 3 or 4, or hopefully further. The production team is working on episode 1. Some of them can move on to 2 when they finish. And so it gets stacked so that everybody always has something to do, and that's how the episodes are able to get done, like back to back to back. But it's normally about a year. So for a project like theirs, they can't do that, because the topic that they're talking about in their episode a year from then, it's done. It's in the past. No one's going to remember
They're
anymore.
very topical nowadays because what their
Yeah.
show is about what happened last week.
Exactly. So they need to be able to do that. And so their animation style is purposefully made in a way that's very simple, and it works. And that's one of the things that I always tell my students to, like, something to consider is, what is the reality of your situation? So how fast do you need to get it done? What's the budget? What's your skill level? And how do you plan your animation accordingly? Because yeah, South Park is really, like, if you compare it to like a Miyazaki film, it's very rudimentary, but it's very successful because it works for
Incredibly
what
successful.
they need it for.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So, I just wanted. Did you have something?
Nope.
Okay. I didn't want to jump over.
I got
anybody.
you. I got you.
But
Kick
I
you
know
under the table.
but no, we just wanted to thank you guys for coming on and joining us. This has been, like you said, there's so many different things we learned, so many different things, so many different people. So thank you very much for that's a little bit of education for me, because I'm not as much knowledge on the animation things. But we wish you. I think it's great. You guys have been having a great experience so far. We wish you luck on the panel tomorrow on the workshop. But yeah, keep us updated on things. So offline, once we're done with this, maybe we can exchange contact information. This way, we can let you know when the episode's going out. If there's anything you're working on later on or going forward, or an update on the film or the animation festival, you can let us know that, and then we can also promote that as well on our end.
Thank you for that, really.
Hey, no problem. That's what we're here for. Is just like the film festival. If whatever we can do for anybody else, we'd love to do that. And we love staying in contact with people. Every year, we've met new people, and every year we see some of the same people. But each year we stay in contact with everybody, and we've been able to grow our network, and it's been phenomenal.
And it's been good to kind of see that evolution from people.
Yep.
Like some of the best evolution we've seen is like our first year we interviewed the high school troop.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and
They're all
those
now in
kids are so
college.
dear-
And now they're in
to my heart.
college, and we've got to see that progression of their journey.
Yes.
It's been awesome.
So, gentlemen, since you very kindly offered this, I would love to see your podcast come to the Tampa Animation Festival this November.
We would love to.
Absolutely.
I'll
We'll get
request
that.
off now.
All right.
Yes. So,
Just all of November.
Like
you
I
know
said,
what?
We'll lock that down.
So yeah, we'll talk offline, and then we'll swap information. We'll get a little bit more on the dates and everything. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining, and for you, the viewers, continuation of Sunscreen Day number.
3.
There you go, guys. More
Go watch
interviews-
Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. More people need to see that show.
More interviews to come. A lot more weekend to still go, and for Movie Talks and Chill, you already know who we are. To our special guest, though,
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you
Really
so
enjoyed it.
much.
Thank you,
It's
guys.
a pleasure.
Welcome.
take care. All right, guys, we are back again. What day is it, Patrick?
Day Trace.
I honestly, at this point,
It's Saturday.
It's day 73.
it's the umpteenth day. It
Yes.
feels like. No, it is day 3. We've been here all day. We've talked to some really great filmmakers and people like that, and we're about animators, ornithologists.
Yeah. We've run the gambit today.
Yeah. And now we have another filmmaker.
That's right. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Trevor Nadeau.
Awesome. And Trevor, what brings you to Sunscreen Film Festival?
I usually come here once a year just to hang out, meet filmmakers, look up films, and just network pretty much.
So, talking offline, you said you are a filmmaker yourself. You have a couple of projects underneath your belt already. And you want to talk about them a little bit?
I have 4 short films under my belt. The first 2 I worked with Scott Sullivan and Dominic Smith. They were, to this day, they're really good friends of mine. They are from the Clearwater area. I mean, since then they moved away from Clearwater, but I'm still good friends with them, and they're the ones that started me on my journey, So that's how I got my entrance into this field.
Fantastic.
So the film that you showed me that I got a chance to watch while we were waiting on everybody else to come back together. Give us a little insight on. It was Sliced, correct?
Yeah, Sliced. Sliced is a movie I worked on for a good couple of years, actually. I reshot it twice because, I worked with some filmmakers that were just not sharing my vision and my ambition. So the one I showed you just a minute ago was the one I finished last year.
Gotcha.
Basically, originally when it started out, it was based about a restaurant invasion. It was someone that was holding up a restaurant, and that story was about this people that were closing down for the night, and this guy comes in with a shotgun and was like holding the place up, and he was like trying to tell people that he was an abductee and the aliens are coming back for him. So in that one, you're like thinking like if he's crazy or not. And the reason I didn't do that one because again I met someone that steered the project away, and after going through all kinds of stuff with him, I lost interest. But after I did my 3rd short film, Classified, I wanted to come back to that project, and it went from that to what you saw there, which is a soldier fighting a reptilian alien creature thing. And the idea of that was a secret invasion. That's what it was. And I got that from ufology, like reptilians and shapeshifters and stuff like that.
So I did see in there you had some good action on there where, sorry for the spoiler alert, but the head explodes at the very end. Like, tell me about shooting that and how'd you set that up?
Well, originally that was done by Kevin Bogdanovic. He's the one that did the first version of 2021 I did. And he left the project because, again, I was working with people that were just like, not the best. And I don't blame him because it was a lot of stuff I went through with it. But he let me keep that head prop. And I gave it to Alan Ostrander, who did the makeup for this. Mm-hmm. And he ended up putting a whole new mask thing on it and, made it look much better and more detailed. But I gotta tell you, that night when I came to set, I was late that day, and I was telling my AD to get things rolling with the exploding head prop, and it literally took him an hour to put it together because of the complexity of it. So we were just filming it continuously, and we just got continuous shot. So what you see there was the best out of all the takes we did. So
excellent. And you did show the costume that the alien was wearing was lizard-esque in nature.
Yeah.
How long did that process go through getting made?
Well, Alan, Alan Ostrander, for example, for start off, he's Orlando-based, 30 years in the business, and it was news for me when I worked them back the first time I worked them in 2023. He was taking so long on the process, and that was news to me that it takes that long to do practical effects. But yeah, he's a perfectionist, and I love everything that he put into it. So I had no problem with him doing as long as it took, but it was 7 hours, maybe 6.5. My AD had to go in there and talk to him, because she came up to me and we were talking, and I said to her, look, you have my permission to go in there and talk to him and level with him, and that's exactly what she did. So instead of 7 hours and 30 minutes, he released it in 6 hours and 30 minutes, and accepted what was there. So
where where do you get the inspiration for your for your writing, and then where does that come into?
My former stepmother, Rosemary, she's really into ufology, and it all started in 2013. I saw a movie called Dark Skies, which was produced by Jason Blum in Blumhouse. And from there, I got interested in alien abduction stories. My first short film was called The Entity, and it was inspired by alien abduction stuff. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes with that movie, but it really steered my direction towards aliens, UFOs, and things like that. Like it really piqued my interest in that stuff.
So do you ever go out, just see something shooting across the sky and just hope maybe this is the real thing? No.
There are some instances where I'm like, when I was in my pool and I was looking up there, I'm like, okay, is there an alien ship up there? A couple of weeks ago, I was getting out of work, my general manager and I, and we looked up and this giant drone just flew past us, like a military drone. I was joking saying maybe that was an alien ship that flew past us. But my manager was like, look, it's like, this is not fantasy, this is reality. I was like, that was a drone. I was like, okay, that was a military drone. We just saw that.
And now they have our facial recognition.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I would love to think one day I could see a UFO, but would people believe me? No, they'll probably think I'm crazy.
Yeah, true.
Like in Nope. I just
Yeah.
recently watched that.
Nope was good. I saw
Nope
that on
was
IMAX. It was
fantastic.
really good. I saw it in 70 millimeter when it came out, and I was kind of disappointed with how the UFO was portrayed. But after watching it a second time, I have more appreciation for it than I did watching the first time.
Is there any project that you're currently working or kind of got in progress that you can talk about?
Yeah,
or that you'd
it's
like to talk
called Encounters. I'm not really good at naming projects, so you know that. I mean, I didn't even come up with the name Slice. One of my former people I was working on it titled this lady Slice, and it stuck with me. So you can't pay me to name a movie. I mean, I'm just not good at it. But the story's called Encounters, and it's about two brothers that are at odds with each other. One's a restaurant owner. The other one is basically the younger one that works under his older brother. And a year ago, their father was abducted by aliens, but the older brother doesn't want to believe it. He believed his father was simply killed. But he thinks his younger brother is crazy. And that night, which the father's anniversary is his like birthday, they, after coming home from work, they find out that they're being visited by extraterrestrials that are insect in nature, and it's a fight for survival pretty much for them too.
Now, where in the progress of this film is this in, like, are you still in the writing stage? Is it development? Are you ready to kind of get it going? Or
Stephanie Davis is helping me write it. She's I think she wants to do one more write-up of it, and we're gonna try to make it good as we possibly can. Trying to make it more about the characters and stuff, because I learned a long and hard way when it comes to movies I love, like aliens and stuff. It's all about the characters. Predator, it's not about the monster. The monster's cool, but it's the characters that make the movie.
Right.
And I always failed to realize that until recently. So that's what I'm trying to make it more about the people.
Yeah. Everyone remembers they're coming out of the goddamn walls, man.
Yeah.
Of course, and Aliens.
Yeah.
Amazing movie. And today's LV-426 Day. That's what nerds like me call it, because Aliens Day,
Okay.
LV-426. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So today's like the day people like me will like look up alien stuff, because there's a new alien TV show coming out and stuff, and
This summer.
Oh yeah, Alien Earth.
yeah, Alien Earth. So today they were showing more stuff. Like Fox was showing us
okay.
more content for that, and there's like rebates on alien shirts and stuff, because everyone has Star Wars Day, we
Yep.
have Alien Day,
Yeah.
May the 4th is coming up.
Yes,
Yes.
and Revenge of the Fifth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
what everyone calls it. But yeah, today's Alien Day, and when I tell people that, they think Alien Day? And I say, yeah, the alien movies. So, it's
Suck
not-
it, Cinco de Mayo.
I'll take Alien Day any day over Cinco de Mayo. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like aliens, we think of Hicks, you think of Apone, you think
Yep.
of Vasquez. You don't think of the Xenomorphs, even though they're great, but it's the
Right.
characters. Yeah.
Maybe the Queen.
Yeah, the Queen was.
Maybe the Queen.
Yeah, the
No,
Queen's
wait for
awesome.
her.
well, she gets a lot of screen time.
Yeah,
so
she
that,
did.
you
She
know.
did. She was kind of a prima donna, though.
All the other
fact-
aliens were in the back getting their faces powdered.
Right.
The fact that James Cameron created the creature herself in pre-production, even before pre-production, like he drew it all out, says a lot about his creativity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The guy's an artist, and he created the Alien Queen. That's his creation. No one else created it. He did. He drew it out.
Just
that
so
was-
Gavin knows for future, who directed Aliens?
listen, one time, 4 years ago. You know what? I'm done. I'm done with you. You didn't make it to the party last night.
Neither did you.
Don't worry about it. I was there, ish. For all you know, I was there.
just to give you some backstory on this, we had it in our show. We do it in a regular year time, when we're not at film festivals. We occasionally do trivia battles against each other, movie trivia, and we ask questions. And somebody misheard the word, didn't hear the plural, and they said, "Who directed Alien?" I jumped
Ridley
in,
Scott.
Ridley Scott, and he said James Cameron. He agreed that James Cameron directed Alien, and I said no, that was Aliens.
Yeah,
And so
I can see that.
That was 3 years ago, and I've not let it go yet.
No,
You know,
nobody,
fun fact,
nobody
when,
has.
When James Cameron pitched Aliens, he went to the board, he went on the whiteboard, he went Alien and put the S, the dollar sign. He actually finally admitted that.
Well, they did make him that.
Yes, they did.
Right?
So,
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't
That
wrong.
was the longest rumor, and a couple years ago, James Cameron in an interview confirmed it, that yes, I did do Alien with the dollar sign at the S, and that's what sold them on it. And it did make money,
Right.
There's the new Alien movie that just came out. Like that
Romulus.
brings-
Romulus.
Yep.
It's great. I loved it. I mean, it had its issues, but it was a return to form because I was like really taken back by how Covenant was not that good. I mean, I liked it, but it just didn't do it for me. I love Prometheus because of the 3D. I'm a big 3D connoisseur. I love 3D. So Prometheus was a great 3D production. I love that Ridley Scott came back to sci-fi for that. Shot it in 3D. It was great. But Covenant was just like that. It was watchable, but a lot better than AVP. But still, it was like.
Most things are better than
I was going to
AVP.
say that.
Well, they're actually bringing back Alien vs. Predator.
Right.
Yeah.
They said because Predator Badlands is hinting that it ties with Alien Yutani. So if that does well, we're going to see an Alien vs. Predator film actually done right.
Well, even in and I believe it's Tony that picked this up and presented it to me, but or maybe it was Doug. But in the screenshot where they've got all the skeletons on the wall, it's the
Independence
Yeah,
Day.
that was Doug. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't take credit for that one.
So the
Sorry.
Independence Day Alien you're talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's the Independence Day alien skeleton on the wall as well. So
Well,
they're-
some people predicted it was the World of Worlds alien, but then people were reminded on Twitter that was a Paramount production, not a Fox production.
Right.
So, I mean, to think that Independence Day is now going to tie to Predator, I'm like, I don't know. I love Independence Day, but come on. I mean,
The first one.
the first one.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's go ahead and put that little
Yes, the
disclaimer
first
on there.
one. Yes.
well, they do want to do a third one. I heard about that, and my funny theory is they do a third one, have Will Smith come back as an alien clone. That's how you make it good. I
Okay,
mean, 'cause,
okay.
that's the
Pretty
thing
sure
that,
Roland Emmerich is not allowed back in Hollywood right now after Moonfall.
I
and-
like Moonfall. And call me crazy, but I enjoyed the idea about the moon being.
I love the
like,
concept, but it was just bad.
I don't know. I went to see it in theaters, and I actually I had to refill my soda, and I was really rushing to refill it to go and continue watching it because I don't know, the concept of the idea of a moon being an alien base was kind of intriguing to me. I'm not a big Emmerich fan. Few movies I like of his. I like Stargate. I did love Independence Day. But the other movies like 10,000 BC was really bad. I remember I saw that in theaters. But Independence Day Resurgence was okay. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. Getting rid of Will Smith, that was a stupid decision.
Yeah.
They should have fought harder to keep him on.
That's what I thought too. I thought that it would have had a better plot given that he came back and maybe passed the torch on instead of just saying, oh yeah, he's done.
Yeah, because Suicide Squad did not do it for me.
No.
The Suicide Squad did it for James
Yes.
Gunn.
Yeah.
Yes it did.
The Suicide Squad was way better, but I didn't see that in theaters. I actually watched it on HBO Max because I was burnt by the first one. But James Gunn's a great director and a great writer, so I should have been smarter to know that it would have been a great experience watching in theaters, for sure.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to guess based on how you're talking, would you say James Cameron is one of your favorite directors?
He's a masterful director, yes, but if I can go on to say one thing I don't like what he has done is when it comes to his older films, I don't like that he's using artificial intelligence to remaster his movies. I was one of the very few who was dying to get Aliens on 4K, and then when I saw it, how it looked awful. You don't use artificial intelligence to remaster a movie from that era. I just don't. I love the guy. I think he's great. But there's certain things you just don't do. And using AI to enhance your movie, no. I mean, other than that, yeah, I'm a big James Cameron fan. A lot of people will give me flack for that.
I mean, he's a great director.
Exactly.
I know it just shit all over Roland Emmerich, but he's one of mine.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's my thought on it is when you get directors to a certain tier, whether they do 8 million great movies and a couple so-so ones or even a bad one, I think they're just like, oh, they're so mainstream that people automatically start disliking them for certain reasons. So, like, Steven Spielberg's another one.
He's great.
I love him, but, everybody's like, oh, I always say the next Spielberg. Like, they use him as the reference whenever they
Right.
talk about a great director. He is a great director. He deserves that title. There's other great directors. If you said you're another Cameron, if you say you're another
Scorsese.
Scorsese's great.
Stanley Kubrick,
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone, Sam Raimi.
Well, one thing about me is like when I'm not making movies, I like collecting physical media. I love collecting 4K Blu-rays and stuff, and I'm one of the few nerds out there that actually likes to see a movie done, the right process to be remastered. So like last year when Cameron released a lot of his movies on 4K Blu-ray, The Abyss, True Lies, Aliens, Titanic.
Totally forgot he did The Abyss.
Yeah.
Continue. That was just a thought.
I still have to watch The Abyss. I get a lot of crap for that. I need to watch it. But when I saw that he did AI with those movies and then how he backs it, because like I'm one of the few who doesn't like AI. I mean, like it has its ups and downs, but for Hollywood, they have money. You don't need to use that technology. I mean, Peter Jackson started that with his documentaries. He did those 2 documentaries, the World War I documentary and the Beatles documentary, and then he started taking a studio and letting other filmmakers go in there and remaster other stuff, and it just doesn't look good. It looks nasty,
And so you're here today. Are you going to be around the festival tomorrow as well?
Not tomorrow. I have work tomorrow, so
Gotcha.
I can't come down here. But every year I come here on a Friday and a Saturday.
Okay. Is there anything else the rest of the day you're looking forward to seeing? Are you scheduled to watch anything or check it out, or are you just kind of seeing the scene here?
Just seeing the scene and what's going on out there. Trying to see what's who's here and what they have presented, and see what we have up there. I want to see might want to see some workshops out
Okay.
there, and see what that's all about.
Yep, there's a lot of great ones, man.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
always
Very much
good
so.
ones, yeah. And you would definitely get solid information. It's not something like it's not a cookie cutter. Hey, we're going to talk about screenwriting, right? Get a computer, get a program, write a screenplay. They go in depth. They give you very, very good information, very in-depth information. We've gotten to talk to quite a few of the people that do the workshops here, or have been a part of the workshops. So definitely, if you take advantage of that, because they're wonderful.
Yeah, I hear that about the AI writing. That I was talking to some people who attended that yesterday. Not many people are really happy about artificial intelligence being used to write scripts and stuff. And when it comes to Hollywood and stuff, it should just let people do the work.
Yep. And we know, so when they do one of the AI panels, they were talking about in general what what it could be throughout the
What it
industry.
means for the future.
What it
Yeah, because we
yeah.
talked to one of the panelists, Steve Stein,
Yeah,
and
Steve.
he made a documentary that was here last year about the future of AI and the film industry. It's definitely very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, James Cameron warned us about artificial intelligence with how many Terminator movies now? 2, 3, 4?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
right.
And then how bad an idea that could be.
Yep.
And look where we're at now. I mean, if you watch social media,
I
they're
literally drove by a van that said Skynet the other day.
really, ugh, that's a scary thought.
So watch out, everybody.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, man, thank you so much for joining us. We got a couple things that are coming up here soon, so
Yep.
I want to make sure we're prepped for that. And for you, the viewers, thank you guys for joining us again. Day 3.
Day 3.
Day 3.
Continuation. You're going to keep hearing it until
So
we're
far
done.
you say, but it feels like it's been a year since I haven't left this table.
I know, right? But seriously, we got a lot more to go. Thank you so much. You already know who we are, but thank you to our special guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself again, sir.
Trevor Nadeau.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Trevor.
For you guys, take care.